racks on the so blue. Drop top riding in the cool. Or black 10, you don't wanna see the view. I'm up now, but I'm tryna get in tune. One rack flipping in a two. Everything designed to my shoes. Tee me up, tell me what you wanna do. That's the difference between the kid and you. I came in the game killing the niggas, thought I wouldn't rip through the flash, through the dash, foreign weapon, oh you see my success.
Yes, sir. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, it's that kid YPK Ray, and today I wanted to introduce you guys to a new series that I'm gonna call Hoopers Talk. But basically, what I'm gonna be doing in this series is giving you guys any advice that you need, any tips that you need, any training tips, dunking tips, telling stories, anything you guys really want me to talk about, I'm gonna talk about on this series. I wanted to keep it like a podcast, but I don't like sitting down and talking, so I'd rather, play basketball or keep you guys engaged in a different type of way and talk about what needs to be talked about. So without further ado, welcome to episode 1 of Hoopers Talk, which is gonna be my basketball journey. So a lot of you guys ask me, what my real name is. Do I still play basketball? Am I in high school? Am I in college? I should be in the NBA, this, that. And you guys don't know anything about me, how I got into basketball, social media, and any of that stuff. So I feel like I owe you guys that explanation, so let's talk about it. First and foremost, right? My name is not Taquavion. My name is Ray Michael McKinney. I'll repeat that one more time. Ray Michael McKinney. My name is not Taquavion. The reason why everybody calls me Taquavion is because I made up this series called Block by Taquavion where I freaking block little kid shots, and I just came up with the most random ghettoest name I possibly could think of, and it just stuck. Now everybody calls me Taquavion. I am from New York. New York, NY. I'm not from Florida, California. Like, where do you guys be getting this information from? Like, everybody just be saying that I'm from this place, that place. I'm from New York. I'm originally born in Harlem, New York, and I grew up in Middletown, upstate New York. So now we're gonna get into my basketball journey and how I started playing basketball. So originally, I come from a football family. Football is my first sport, and believe it or not, I was actually way better in football than I was in basketball. It wasn't until 5th grade that I actually started playing organized basketball at my local YMCA. So this is when I officially started really getting into basketball and actually training and playing on teams and stuff like that. But I really wasn't that good. I used to be scared to play basketball. Fucking dribble into the corner and fucking just stop and stand there. Like fast as fuck. Like I was the fastest on the court, so I used to just literally dribble all the way to the corner as fast as I can and just stop there and pick up my dribble. So yeah, I was actually very scared to play, and I used to not be very confident in my abilities at all. I was the fastest on the court, so what I used to do was I used to dribble full speed all the way to the corner and pick up my dribble like this. And then I used to just throw the ball all out of bounds and shit like that. I used to be wilding when I was younger because I was just scared. And it wasn't until 7th grade that I kind of grew out of that scary mindset. And my dad was telling me yo, you're the fastest on the court. Why don't you just dribble to the basket instead of dribbling to the corner? And I was like, you got a point. You got a point. Then 6th grade came around. That's when I started playing AAU. I started playing for my first AAU team. It was called Middletown's Finest. That was my first AAU team ever. Now here's where things get interesting, but before we do any of that, now we back, but let's talk about it. So 7th grade is where I tried out for Modified. For those of you guys who don't know what Modified basketball is, it's basically the middle school basketball team. I was still playing AAU basketball, I was still playing football, and I was doing school basketball. So this is where things started to get, a little bit serious for me. I started realizing that I really want to take basketball serious, and this is why I started getting in the gym and really started working. So my modified basketball career was actually very successful. Even though it really doesn't mean nothing, it meant something to me because it made me realize that I was actually really good at basketball, and I wanted to really take it seriously moving forward along with football. 7th and 8th grade, I played basketball. And then after basketball season, I was doing track and I was doing AAU basketball. I used to wake up at probably 7, 8 a.m. every day. I used to go hang out with my friends. We used to go play basketball all day throughout the day. And then in the nighttime at 8 o'clock, we would go to our local rec center and then go do runs with our friends from 8 to 11, and then we would walk home. I was literally a gym rat all day, every single day. It was crazy for me. Basketball became a very, very, very big part of my life along with football. So my next step was gonna be JV basketball, and I really, really, really wanted to play high school basketball, so I started working out crazy. Me and my friends, we used to work out all the time, every day, and so during the summer, there was the summer league, and that's how you knew if you was gonna make the JV team or not. They would give you a call during the summer, like right after like your 8th grade year, and they would be like, yo, like, do you wanna come play in the OC Summer League? OC is like our local community college, and they would have like JV and varsity games during the summer. And if you got on that team, you was automatically on the JV team for next year. So one time, me, Brandon, Armani, and my friend Elijah, we was all chilling at Elijah's house, and randomly out of nowhere, Brandon gets a call from his mom, and he's like, yo, like I made the JV, the summer league team. Like, yo, he's calling people right now. I'm like, fuck, like, why didn't I get a call? So I'm sitting there like, I'm low-key mad, but I'm like waiting for this call, because I'm like, I was so good on modified in middle school basketball, there's no way I don't get this call right now. So I'm sitting there, we waiting for however long we was there waiting, and then my dad calls me like, yo, you made the summer league team? Yo, me and my friend is jumping up and down, we going crazy, because now we on JV. I made the JV team that upcoming year. I was still playing basketball and football, so I played football first, and then I played basketball. And my JV career, my first year, my freshman year, was very, very, very good. And this is right after I had hit my first little growth spurt, because when I was in 8th grade, believe it or not, I was 4'11". And I know I'm short now, I'm like 5'8", 5'9", but I was even shorter then, and I did hit a growth spurt. So I went from like 4'11" to like 5'3", 5'4", and as a freshman, I was damn near like leading my JV team in points that year. So fast forward to 10th grade, after me leading the team as a freshman, basically, I came into my 10th grade year confident as hell. I was still killing, still doing my thing, and I was just preparing for varsity. So one of my friends, Malachi, he got pulled up as a 9th grader to come play varsity, and I was like, yo, like, I feel like I should be on that level too, but I wasn't tripping about it, you know what I'm saying? And I was actually very close and very cool with the varsity basketball coach, because he was my neighbor in my neighborhood. After that, it was going into my junior year, and I was ready to play varsity basketball. So randomly, out of nowhere, one of my friends that transferred from another like rival school in my district, he came to Middletown. He was another guard, and our coach, varsity coach, like literally fell in love with this dude. That year, he automatically gave him the starting point guard spot, and I got moved to the starting 2 guard. So the first 3 games of my junior year, I was starting as a 2 guard on varsity, right? And I was actually doing pretty good. I was averaging maybe like 8 to 10 points next to him, because he's a very good scorer. And I honestly think I should have been playing the 1, but that's besides the point. So anyways, first 3 games or first 4 games, I was a starting 2 guard, and I was actually, playing pretty decent until people started complaining about playing time. So a lot of like people that was on the bench and their parents and all type of stuff like that started complaining about playing time. And we had a trip coming up to Florida to play in the Cruel Classic, in Orlando. I'm from New York, and we was flying all the way out to Florida to play in this Cruel Classic tournament. So I was actually very excited to be able to play in Florida and like kind of get into, playing in different regions and against different types of players and stuff like that. So I was ready for Florida, you know what I'm saying? I was like completely ready to get it on and popping in Florida, you know what I'm saying? But as soon as we get into Florida, first game comes, he sits me out. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what I'm sitting out for, bro? And I actually don't know like why he sat me out that game, but I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna be all right. And I was sitting there like the first quarter, second quarter, I'm sitting there waiting to get in the game, He literally did not play me the whole game. So after that, I was like, okay, whatever, like, all right, cool. We had like 4 games that tournament. I probably played a total of like 10 to 15 minutes. From being a starter to playing 15 minutes total within 4 games. What is that? So my dad started asking me like, yo, what's going on? Like, are your grades good? Like, why is he not playing you? And I'm just like, honestly, I really don't know. So like, I started to feel like me and him had problems because of something, and I really just never, till this day, never knew why he just stopped playing me out of nowhere, especially if I was playing decently good. And there was nobody in my position that I feel like was playing way better than I was. So why am I not playing anymore? Good thing I was still playing AAU basketball, but unfortunately, that was my last year of playing football. After my 11th grade year, I stopped playing football. I was done playing football. I didn't want to play anymore, and I honestly just lost love for the game, and I actually honestly regret it to this day because I was so good at it, but I just lost love for the game between, you know, the coaching staff for the football team and stuff like that. Like, I just really didn't want to play anymore. But fuck that shit. Fuck football. It's whatever. I'll be all right. Everything happens for a reason. I don't know. Whatever. So this is where things get fucked up, and I'm talking about more fucked up than my jump shot. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, ain't it? So basically, my senior year comes around. I thugged it out my whole junior year. I was like, you know what? Next year will be all right. Like, I'll be all right. I'll be fine. And things will just pick back up. So next year, my senior year, we got a few more transfers, and my coach actually picked up 9 or 10 guards on our varsity basketball team out of 15. No, like 30. No, he picked up like 11 guards on a team of 15 or some shit like that. Like some wild shit. Honestly, I already knew this was going to be some bullshit, to be honest, but it was whatever. And I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna thug it out, it's whatever. I couldn't find nowhere to transfer to go to prep school. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just thug it out, fuck it, it's whatever, I'm good. The first few practices come around and he's, switching up rotations and stuff like that. And I figured, everything will be good, like everything will be all right. I wasn't too worried about it. And then the first scrimmage comes around, he calls out the starters. I'm like, okay, I'm not starting, whatever. I was, all right, whatever, I'm not tripping about it. So he calls out the second team. I'm like, okay, I'm not in the second team neither, like, what the fuck is going on? He calls out the third team, still doesn't put me in. And then he puts me in for subs on the third team at our first scrimmage, bro. What the fuck is that? As soon as I look, like literally as soon as I sub into the game, right? My boy, he takes the ball out. He passed it into me, right? Boom, I catch the ball. I give it back to him. Then I run around to this side. This is literally like the first 10 seconds within me checking into the game. I pass it to him, I come over here. He takes a jump shot. I run all the way here to try to catch a putback. I jump up, mind you, first of all, I just started like touching, ramming, dunking and shit like that. This is my early dunking stages, like my senior year. I reach back for this putback. I get so high and I reach my hand back like in an awkward place that my shoulder dislocated and fractured. As soon as it dislocated, when I landed, I came down and it like kind of came back in when I moved my arm. And I was like, what the fuck? So I ran back on defense, holding my shoulder and stuff like that. And I went to sit on the bench and I was like, yo, can I go see the trainer? So I went to the trainer and he put some ice on and he was like, yo, I'm like, you should be good, whatever. But I was like, I think I should get this checked out because it feels weird. So I decided to go to the doctor. And most people really say that as an athlete, you shouldn't be going to a regular doctor because they treat your body like you're a regular person, and which you're not. Ah, shit. You're not a regular person, you're an athlete, and athletes' bodies heal differently and work differently and stuff like that. But I decided to go to the doctor anyway, and he ended up telling me that I dislocated and fractured my shoulder. And it was very weird how I did it. And he said it looked like it could have been impact, but it wasn't. But anyways, I was out for the whole first half of my senior year. So after being out for the whole first half of my senior year, we came back and we had a pep rally for something, and that was like literally my first day back. We was like, doing scrimmages and drills for the pep rally, and it made me feel like I was back. And I thought that he was gonna, play me a little bit and stuff like that, but he played me maybe like 4 or 5 minutes a game, stuff like that. Like I was back, but I wasn't really back to play, I guess, according to him, and he didn't really want to play me. So my first game that he really played me a little bit, I actually did pretty decent, and he put me up against, some good guards and stuff like that. I was more of a defender that year. He had me, just playing defense and running around doing all the dirty work. Then we had this one pretty big game coming up that we needed to win to get into playoffs, and he played me a lot this game, and I held our leading scorer in our conference to like 12 points. I was literally guarding him the whole game, and he was averaging like 30, I'm not even gonna lie. And I held him to like 12 points, and he was like, yo, you've been playing good lately, this and that. We're looking forward to playoffs. And playoffs come, first round, he doesn't play me the whole game. That was the end of my high school basketball career, not playing for a whole game after being told that I was gonna play. But fuck that shit, it's whatever, it's over with. And now I gotta get ready for AAU basketball season. So once AAU came back around, I started playing for a team. Well, this is after me bouncing around from team to team to team to team for fucking years of AAU. From, was like 6th grade all the way up to my senior year. But I started playing for a team called 845 Elite, which I was the man on that team. I fucking really did what I want. And this is when my game really started to like really advance. I started getting like, athletic, and my jump shot was looking good and stuff like that. So I really started taking my game to the next level and started feeling like, okay, I want to play college ball, so let me go out this AAU season after getting no looks in high school, obviously not. to maybe getting something, you know what I'm saying? I started killing my AAU season of my senior year. Usually people are not supposed to play, but if you're not signed to nothing, you can do what the hell you want, and I can do what the hell I want. So I was playing AAU, I started playing AAU throughout my whole senior year, and I went to some exposure camps and stuff like that, and that's when I started getting a few college looks. I feel like I should shoot some free throws. So I started getting a few college looks, and I started going to all of these exposure camps, and I was actually doing very good at these camps. And I didn't get no looks for no D1s. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about my college situation and say that I was going D1. No, I was not going D1. I got looks from some D3 schools, some JUCO schools, and some D2 schools. No, not even no D2s, just D3s and JUCO schools. That's all I got, D3s. Oh, and it was D2 JUCOs. So, you know what I'm saying? It was D2, but just not high major D2, stuff like that. But when it comes to Division III schools, you can't really get athletic scholarship, if I'm not mistaken. You can only get academic. And I had good grades in high school, so they wouldn't give me a full ride to the school. So they was only giving me partial scholarships to go to these schools and play basketball. And I wasn't really fucking with it because I don't come from no rich family and I don't want to be in no crazy debt. So I ended up going to this local school called SUNY Sullivan. It was about 40 minutes away from my house, and it was a D2 JUCO at the time, and I just felt like it was just the right thing to do. And I wasn't really recruited to go to that school at all, but I knew one of the basketball coaches that went there, so I was just like, you know what, let me just go, let me just see where it goes. It's whatever, basketball might be over for me, but if not, it's cool, whatever. I was a walk-on technically because I wasn't recruited to go to the school, so they had two different types of, they had two teams. They had a JV team, they had a varsity team. So the varsity team was all scholarship players, and the JV team was any walk-ons, and then you could get moved up. I was working out with both teams, and they had tryouts and stuff like that. So the first, I guess, week after they picked teams, I was practicing with both teams. I was practicing with the varsity team, and I was practicing with the JV team. And I had spoke to the varsity coach, and he had told me, yo, you're gonna start on JV, whatever, and then hopefully you can work your way up and then possibly play with us this year and then get a scholarship next year. I was like, you know what, fuck it, why not? I still wanna play ball, so let's do it. This was my first college year. So, during that season, I actually was like really killing. Like this is like, I'm not even exaggerating, I was dead ass killing. I was probably averaging, over 15 points that year, and I actually did very, very good for myself. So good to the point that the varsity coach pulled me up towards the end of the year, and he's like, you know what, we got, districts coming up, and they was like doing really, really, really good. So he pulled me up on their team, and I started playing and practicing with varsity. I started playing varsity, and he pulled me up. I got some, decent minutes in these games, and I was playing with, very high-level basketball players. A lot of these guys were like D1 transfers and all type of stuff like that. JUCO was really like the jungle. If you guys don't know JUCO was really, really, really the jungle. A lot of guys who have messed up grades or got injured, D1 and stuff like that, they transfer and go JUCO before they can go back up and play back at that level. And I played against and with some very, very, very good players. That upcoming summer, I kept in contact with the coaches and stuff like that, and we talked a lot about, moving forward next year. And he honestly, I feel like, shitted on me. And he told me, he was like, yo, we're gonna keep our options open because we're recruiting. And at the end of the day, I can't blame him. At the end of the day, it's a business. You gotta keep your job. So he was like, we're gonna keep our options open and keep recruiting. But we are interested in having you, on scholarship next year to play varsity. And that never happened. So we fell out of touch during the summer, and I came back my next year and ended up having to play JV again. And absolutely fucking killed. That shit was like, I don't wanna say too easy, but it was low-key easy for me, you know what I'm saying? We played a lot of high-level prep schools and other college programs, low D3 colleges and stuff like that. And I just feel like it just wasn't me. I feel like I should have been playing at a way higher level than what I was at. That whole year, I was just killing, doing what the fuck I had to do. And I kept in contact with the coaches because I just really wanted to get moved up. And he ended up wanting to move me up towards the end of the year, which would have been in March, but that's when COVID just balled up its fucking fist and punched me in my face. COVID just punched me in my fucking face and punched everybody in the face. I didn't catch it, but it really just fucked everything up. So they made us go to online school, and they just kicked us out of the dorms and everything and made us just go home. And we just went home and really just didn't have nothing to do. I didn't have no looks to transfer to a 4-year school or nothing like that. And I was just like, what the hell am I gonna do? What I decided to do was look at this app called TikTok, and I'm like, yo, this is like pretty dope. And I was getting out of a relationship at the time, and I was like, you know what? Why not just do that? You know what I'm saying? Because when I was in that relationship, I couldn't really do what I really wanted to do. But I'm like, you know what? I always wanted to be a YouTuber, and I always watch YouTubers, and people always like, yo, you're so funny. Like, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just hop on TikTok and see where the hell this goes. This was in March of 2020. And I honestly just took TikTok. I started making like 6 videos a day of, you know, me playing basketball, me dunking, me doing this, me doing that. And I used to just throw them up there. And eventually those videos just started to blow up and people started loving me for what I do. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just take this and let me just run with it. So I took it and I ran with it. I started growing. And then all the way up until September of 2021, I started visiting Minnesota. And I started realizing that I can get in open gyms whenever I want, and I loved it there. So I'm like, you know what? Let me move to Minnesota. So I got up from New York, my hometown in Middletown, and I drove my ass all the way to Minnesota, and I moved into Minnesota. I started becoming a basketball trainer over there, and I was just doing my videos and getting it in. It's like so much opportunity out there for me to just create, and I love that about Minnesota. So I just moved out there, and I was there from September of 2021 all the way until June of 2022. That's when I visited Las Vegas, Nevada for the first time, which is where I'm at right now. What brought me out here was the fact that I was hosting camps and stuff for Made Hoops all over the country. I was in Pittsburgh, I was in Philly, I was in Maryland. I was just everywhere hosting these camps and doing these tournaments with Made Hoops. And the next one was going to be Las Vegas. So I came out to Las Vegas, and I honestly fell in love with how basketball is so big out here. I'm very close to Cali. I'm very close to Arizona, and everything that I really want to do, you know, acting, modeling, this and that. And I'm just like, yo, this is the perfect spot. And I always wanted to live somewhere where it's very nice weather. And Minnesota is way too cold. Like, there's only like 4 weeks of summer. But in Vegas, if I'm not inside, I can make a video outside all year round. Like, the lowest it gets is like 60, 70. That's like perfect for what I want to do. And it's like everything just came together perfectly for me. I came out here on June 9th to host that tournament. I fell in love with it. I met a few people that kind of built some connections for me out here. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just stay out here like another week and see where it goes. So I stayed out here another week, and I changed my flight information. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go back home to Minnesota next week. Then next week comes, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just stay another week. Then another week comes, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just stay another week. So I'm just staying with friends, bouncing between hotels, this, that, and I'm just like, yo, I fucking love it here. Like, I don't wanna go back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna move out here, bro. Like, why not? So now, I live in Las Vegas. Let's just see where it goes. And I just got an apartment out here, and now I'm living in Las Vegas. I'm living it up. It's like, kind of like the best thing that ever happened to me, because I feel like it was just perfect timing, you know, considering, you know, things that I've been through and stuff like that. And it's just, everything just lined up so perfect for me in like regards to like, you know, connections and basketball and having access to gyms and like creating. Like right now I'm at my own apartment place, and I got an indoor basketball court right now. A lot of people still ask me like, do I still play college ball, or am I going pro, or this and that? And my answer is, I don't know. The only thing that would really bring me back to college ball is maybe like a monster NIL deal so I can get paid, because at the end of the day, I'm worried about what I can build and what I can do once basketball is over for me. And I really want to get into, you know, training and, you know, hosting events and this and that. And I was just like, college is not really going to do that for me right now. And I'm building that through my social media platform right now. So why go back to college? And I don't really want to be in school. So it's like, I'm done with school. So people be like, so why don't you just go pro then? And I'm just like, I don't know, because professional basketball is very like time consuming, and I feel like going overseas and stuff like that, it just like, I just don't know if it'll be the right fit, but I'm like very, very, very highly considering that. But yes, I really do want to get into playing basketball again. I still train every day. I'm still in the gym every day. I'm working with pro trainers. I'm working. And I still want to play, but I just got to figure out what would be the right fit for me, and figure out whether or not I should go back to college, or whether or not I should go play pro, or the NBA is not an option. I am 5'8". Stop saying that I should go to the NBA, bro. Anyways, that is my basketball journey and how I came about as a basketball player, and what I'm doing now. What I'm doing now is making videos, I'm making money, I'm hosting tournaments, I'm training, I'm doing everything that I can to maximize my income, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. That concludes episode 1 of Hoopers Talk. Now you guys kind of know a lot about me and what I do and how I came about. So let me know what else you guys want me to talk about. If you guys need any tips on dunking, jumping, if you guys need girl advice, like anything you guys want to know, let me know and I'll discuss it in my next episode of Hoopers Talk. Let's talk about it.
Big racks on the soft blue. Drop top riding in the cool. All black 10, you don't wanna see the view. I'm up now, but I'm trying to get in tune. One rack flipping in a two. Everything designed to my shoes. Sit me up, tell me what you wanna do. That's the difference between the kid and you. I came in the game killing the niggas, thought I wouldn't rip through the flesh. Through the dash, foreign weapon, now you see my success.